Okay, according to Alan Greenspan, this is the worst financial crisis in 100 years. And if you go to World Federation of Exchanges and calculate the value of the exchange from December 2007 until the end of October, you will get more than 20 trillion difference. So capital market lost more than 20. The most recent report by the UK Treasury estimated 2.8 trillion by financial institutions. And Main Street now is starting to feel the pain after the Wall Street. Everybody agreed that the main cause was excess leverage. And this downturn is deleveraging, taking out this excess leverage. Because excessive speculation, this created the famous now inverted pyramid of obligations and debt in the economy. Debt starts growing faster than wealth, and therefore, over time, debt gets bigger and bigger, and it will be impossible for the wealth, the small base of wealth, to carry the heavy weight of debt. Must be corrected. The situation must be corrected, and therefore you get a crash. Debt accumulates faster than wealth. It becomes an unstable system because these huge debts, with any shock, the system collapses because it's unstable. And this is the financial fragility hypothesis of Hyman Minsky that Dr. Nuruddin Krishni, where is he? He mentioned this morning. He used to say that capitalism is inherently unstable. There are always a tendency for capitalism towards instability. From our perspective, this because we will come to the Islamic dimension, but because debt accumulates faster, financial commitments accumulates faster than real wealth and productive activities, and therefore we get this inverted pyramid, and therefore the system becomes unstable. So you get a crash. And then after that, what does the crash do? It wipes out these excess amounts of debt to get the re-normal, or to get back the normal pyramid of wealth and debt. But because debt grows faster, it will go again, growing faster than wealth, and therefore again you get the situation whereby debt is larger than wealth, and you get again the inverted pyramid structure, so you need a crash again to correct the situation, and so on. That's why we have recurrent crises in the capitalist system. Always these crises comes frequently, over years of course, but it comes frequently because the system itself allows for these huge commitments to accumulate faster than wealth. And when the crisis started in 2007, summer of 2007, many people were saying this is a Minsky moment. In Wall Street Journal and other financial press, they were saying this is a Minsky moment. It's a moment where the deleveraging started to correct the imbalances during the boom. So it becomes very costly, by the way, to save the system and maintain it. Every time the Federal Reserve or the central bank or the government intervenes to save the system, it keeps this inverted pyramid structure in place, and this adds more debt to the system, and therefore it becomes more volatile and more fragile, and therefore it becomes, the next crash will be higher and bigger. And that's, by the way, economists would have been warning that crises, each time they are getting worse, getting harder, because each time the government intervenes to save the system, it is not saving the real system, it is saving this inverted pyramid structure, the unstable structure. And therefore, the next crisis will be worse because the size of accumulation will be high. Okay, from our point of view, the sources of danger are two: riba and maisir or rab. And as we have mentioned earlier, these two,
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay? These two are prohibited by all divine religions, not only about Islamic religion. Now, as we taught in the workshop, the problem of riba is that it separates debt creation from wealth creation. It allows debt to grow independent of wealth. And because debt can grow faster than wealth, all you need for debt to grow is just to wait, not to do anything. But to create wealth, you have to work hard, you have to learn, you have to do a lot of things. Therefore, debt would grow faster than wealth under an interest-based system. And this will create this inverted pyramid. With huge debts, you have debt services taken out from the wealth, and eventually the wealth base will not be able to service these huge amounts of debt, and therefore the system has to collapse, or these debts has to be wiped out in order to rebalance or restore the balance. Again, this shows the debt and money in the US. You can easily see, if you are able to see, that debt is much higher than N2, which is a measure of proxy, so to speak, for wealth. And these debts have to be repaid anyway in money. So if you find debt growing faster than money, that means there's something wrong. Ultimately, you will not be able to repay all these debts. And if you look at the growth rates, debt is growing at an average annual rate of 35%, GDP 20%, money or N2 17%. So debt is growing faster. That's the point. These are numbers taken from the Federal Reserve website. So the numbers speak for what's going on. The GDP, debt to GDP ratio went from 1.2 to 2.2. Debt to money went from 2.2 to 4.2. Again, it's an unsustainable system.